Okay, I'm going to make a video of reballing this PS3. As you can see, it's got the L out of the F. It's just basically to show you what's involved in it, how to go about it. So I'm going to go and strip this down, and then I'll come back later and I'll get on with reballing it and I'll video it. Alright, that's the strip down. I'm now going to remove this heat spreader here. Some people leave them on. I don't like leaving them on. I prefer to do my reworking without them. Basically, went from this side here where the CPU is, because there's components around these other parts and you'll damage them. If you just put a wee bit of card in there, make sure it's good and thick but still thin enough for to get this in, because you don't want to damage the chip when you're doing this. Just put some in carefully. You should just feel it, it should pop up. Not too bad. There you go. One was actually quite tight compared to normal. You can apply a bit of heat to take them off. I normally don't. Basically cleaning this up, and just get a cloth and wipe off the thermal paste off the die. Then I get my heat wand. So if it's set to 410, I'm not going to keep it on here long though. I like to use just an old Xbox GPU for scraping these, because I don't want anything that's too hard, it'll damage them. I'll give it about 15 seconds on here. It should scrape pretty easily at that. And say with a bit of heat, it should scrape off pretty easy. No more than about 15 seconds. You don't want to give too much heat onto these RAM chips here. It's just an old toothbrush. Get rid of all the loose stuff. Then just give it a bit of a clean up with some MEK. Once you've cleaned the RAM chips in, I just give the whole chip a good rub, a good clean with MEK as well. And that's hurt. As you can see, it's a fairly good job. And I just run some flux along, tilt the board up on its side. Run some under till you see it starting to come out here at the bottom. And just tilt the board up on its side. Run some down it the other way. It'll not take much because it's... Okay, so once of that done, I like to use some foil tape to mask off around the chip. Basically just to protect these components around it here. People will put like wee temporary masks over it, but I like to use the tape because once you remove the chip, it acts as a good, it kind of masks off where you're cleaning up there. I leave this bit off till I set it in the machine because I'm going to attach my thermocouple there. When I put this on the machine, I like to check across here and get this chip centered right above the center of the heating plates. I just find I get a more even heat from there, no other reason. Okay, so just before I start, I just set that on there. It's just a wee piece of cardboard with some tape around it. All I use it for is when I take the chip off, I set it there instead of lifting it straight off. It sort of helps prevent any blistering from the chip cooling too quickly. Okay, so I like to get this cleaned off pretty much straight away while the board's still hot. Just makes it a lot easier. So just get a good wee bit of flux on here. Very important. For my wick, I like to cut them short like this. It just helps the heat conduct through them quicker and it lifts the solder a lot easier. It doesn't look to be too bad. I'll leave that to cool down fully. I find if you try to clean the flux off while it's still warm, it's a lot stickier, and again it can lift the pads. So just leave that to cool. Again, you want to clean the chip just the same way. Might be slightly harder to clean just based on the fact that it's cooled down a lot more than when you were cleaning the board, but it should still be alright. I have my iron set at about 410. I find that works well. Alright, sorry, the video cut out on me there. I think that's most of the solder off, so now I just give the chip a wipe off the flux and I'll be able to check it with my finger and see. Okay, that's dead on. I won't go into huge detail how to set this jig because I have guides elsewhere that'll show you how to do it. But basically all I've done is I've set these 4 screws so that once I put this collet on here, this all rests flush with the chip. I don't want these edges being lower than that and all the weight of the stencil resting on the chip, because all that'll happen then is you get flux up through the holes in the stencil and the balls won't go on properly. It looks fine. This is inside flux. Before I put the tacky flux on, I just like to give it one wee spot of inside and give it a good rub in there. It just helps the balls sit better onto the pads once they're heated, I find, than just the tacky flux on its own. Just rub it in, it'll start to dry out and stick to your finger. You know it's ready then. And some tacky flux. I wouldn't normally put that much on, but I normally use Tax. The Kingbow doesn't seem to spray it just as well. Just get a good rub into all the pads. Make sure it's not sitting thick on it. Yep, they look fine. Okay, in case you're wondering, before I melt the balls I take it out and set it on the table. The reason being the jig I have only supports it under two corners. Now, with this being such a large chip, the heat can actually make the two corners that aren't supported sag a bit. So my one set at 410 with an airflow of 1.5. You need to experiment with your own setup for this. I'm basically just taking it round gently, slowly, in the same direction. I find if I wave it about a lot, the balls tend to move on me. Obviously don't hold it in the one spot for a long time. That's that. Better look at it after it's reballed. Okay, so we're back over here. This is nice and cold now. We're going to clean it up. So you do this very gently. You don't want this sticking. As I say, it can and it will lift pads if it sticks. Just give it a check for any rough bits of solder I might have missed. At this point I just like to use a magnifying glass and make sure I haven't missed any pads, or that I'm not missing any pads. I find it easier if I turn the light off to do this. The light of the machine, I mean. Okay, a lot of people would use the tacky flux again for the reattach this chip. I prefer the insert. Just give it a decent reamount. Because say if you're reflowing it, you'd be running plenty under it anyway, so it's not going to do it any harm. That's good. Set the chip on. Make sure you've got it the right way. It's getting near that point now where the solder's melting in there. I can't really get you in any closer because this camera's not great and I don't want to stick my hand in there, it's quite hot. Okay, that's that. We'll just leave that to cool now. Okay, that's it reattached. Cool down. Okay, to get this heat spreader cleaned for the reattach, you should just wipe the paste off the middle bit. As with the round chips earlier on, this adhesive, I use heat to take it off. Because this heat chips metal, it takes quite a bit of heat before that'll shift. So I normally just heat the whole lot for about 30 seconds first before I start doing each individual corner. Maybe 25 seconds on each. Same thing, Xbox 360 old GPU I just use because it's soft. Make sure you hold this with the cloth while you're doing this. You burn the hands of yourself. Alright, next to mix up some of this stuff. It comes in two parts. Just basically equal amounts of each. And just get a wee bit in each of these RAM chips. You don't need a whole load of this or you'll just make a mess. That's plenty. Drop a thermal paste on the die, that's probably too much. I'll just remove a wee bit of that. Just get your heat spreader in and stick it back down. You can sort of move it about a wee bit just to make sure it beds in nicely. Okay, so once that's set for 5 or 10 minutes, it should have bonded tight enough for you to start putting it back together. Just get my thermal paste on. And then that's it. I'm going to go put this back together and we'll test it. Okay, that's just rebuilt, and then we'll try this, cross our fingers and hope for the best. I just always like to reset the video settings when I'm doing it, because I'm using an old TV and sometimes if people are using HDMI it won't show up on the screen. So, success.